Swim, bike, run, keeping it real with Garrick Loewen, Jackson Laundry, and Nicholas Chase. Plus everyone's favorite host, Lisa Becharas. This is the Real Triathlon Podcast. Training, racing, no filter, all hard.
Welcome back to the Real Triathlon Podcast. It is the fastest hour in triathlon, powered by Training Peaks. Today we are joined by the one and only Junkyard Dog. Joe Skipper recently retired, and we've got Nick, who is in a much better mood than last week, hopefully, joining us as well. No Lisa today. She said she is getting dialed in for 70.3 Northern California this weekend, which I think Nick and Jack are also joining her with. But Joe, I know you're retired, so my father-in-law is recently retired, and he said he's never been busier in his life. So I'm sure you're the same way, super busy, and you're looking lean, you're looking fit. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I am pretty good, mate. I've been pretty busy in some areas, and then obviously like other times I feel like I've had quite a lot of spare time, but trying to find things to keep myself busy really, since like ideally for me it would be perfect if I had a stable income as well. That would be great. So that's what I'm trying to like look ahead to, but then also on the back burner while that's going on and things are developing in that area, just trying to push my own projects, you know, some of the brands that I was working with before, like Purpose. So I'm going to start distributing that in the UK, and then potentially maybe DeBoer wetsuits. So looking at opening opportunities like that coming my way, and yeah, just training for a bit of high rocks as well on the side.
We'll talk about high rocks in a little bit. Don't worry about that. We got to figure that out. Joe, it's great to have you here. We've obviously all been, cross paths over the last few years, and your content and what you've done for pro triathlon and just shedding light onto the sport with your YouTube videos. It's just been such a good jam. Like, we'll have a bunch of questions, but I think like we'll start with what within your career, when you have like success in the best races, when you look back on it, because I'm sure you've probably done that a little bit by now, like what were some of those moments you wanted to relive that really made your career feel like, fuck, I did something cool?
The best one for me was probably Ironman Wales, just because I felt like I had a really good race there. Coming back as well from like a bit of adversity, having a bike mechanical, being stuck by the side of the road. I think I was by the side of the road for about 20 minutes, maybe a bit longer. So I thought it was gone. And to be honest, once I got back up and going again, I was just thinking I'll do a little bit, but Kona's in 4 or 5 weeks time. There's no point, killing myself. And as the race kind of unfolded and I saw actually I might have a chance here, I kind of kept in there, and I was getting amazing support from all around the course. So that was like such a great memory, because it was like when everyone's cheering you on because you're so far behind, and then it's like, actually he might get this, and then everyone got behind me, and then yeah, that was just like such a good, so like it was just one of them days where it just all clicked really, and like it felt great, and then managed to get the win. So that was one of them. And then the other ones were probably some of my memories from Kona, like pre-COVID, first time in the top 10. It was just such a like cool experience going, like being in the top 10 in Kona there, and the guys that were racing pro who you were competing against back in that time. I thought it was like a really fun experience. You used to have such a good laugh at the races, and yeah, I just really enjoyed them times. And then like my dad would come out and watch me, and yeah, it was just amazing experiences really.
So looking at Ironman Wales, this is 2022. Is that the year you're talking about?
2022, yeah.
So you swam third in that race, biked, and this is where you had the mechanical for 20 minutes. You biked 5 hours, but you were 14 minutes back. So you were starting to run something like 20 minutes back, 20 minutes back. And then you ran 2:37.24 on what I understand is a pretty hard run course.
Yeah, it's probably like I would honestly say it's the hardest run course in Ironman. I mean, it's 2,000 meters. You guys are in feet, but it's over 2,000 feet of climbing.
Oh, that's huge.
And 43 kilometers long. So it's like long and over 2,000 feet of climbing. It's absolutely brutal.
So that would have been, like, if you were to just guess, like compared to like a flat course, what was that? At least 5 minutes difference. Probably worth it.
More than that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends if the course is even like accurate as well for starters, because like if it's 43 kilometers and you're running 800 meters more than an average course, is 3.5 minutes just there. Like, I mean, on my training peaks, I had a 2:34 through the marathon, but obviously the course was like 3 minutes further. So like one of my fastest marathons for quite some time was that one, because most of the Ironman courses are always short, so it was never actually, my Garmin would never say I'd done a marathon. It was always like 41.9, 42.1, 42, you know. But this one, you're going like 43 kilometers, so it's and you have a kilometer run from transition one to the bike transition. So it's but it was just a day where it all just clicked. And to be honest, like, I actually managed to take the lead on the last lap, and by that point I actually thought to myself, I'm going to save myself now and I'll wait until Kona. And it was like, the whole effort was like a 6 out of 10, because it was just probably the best day of my career. It was like one of them days where it just didn't feel hard. I could have carried pushing on and probably run like another two minutes quicker on the last lap, but I was like, the whole last lap 10k, I was like high-fiving people and just like laughing, like, and just having a joke. But that was just a day where everything just clicked, you know. Like, it was like, you want that day in a world championships, really, you know, like that's ideally what you'd want. But I don't know where it really came from, to be honest, because my training had been all right beforehand. It hadn't been nothing to write home about. It'd been a bit inconsistent, really, like in the middle of the year. The winter was absolutely fantastic. It was like the best winter's training I'd ever had, and I was in Font-Romeu for 4 weeks, so that went really well. But it was, the whole performance kind of came a bit out of the blue, really. I wasn't expecting it.
Well, it's more of a mindset, right? Like, wouldn't you say, like, you've probably had similar nutrition, and honestly, you spent a lot of time on the side of the road getting your bike fixed, but so that, like, for most of these breakthrough key days for our careers, doesn't it come down to just like that headspace that you're just finding yourself in, and it just works?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it was a really easy race for me to get to, and I did really enjoy the race in 2019, because I actually got disqualified in 2019. But because the atmosphere was so good, I just thought, fuck it, I'm going to carry on anyway. So I carried on battling away, but I knew I had the DQ before I started the run. But because the crowd was so good and I was really enjoying it, I was just like, oh, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to kind of make the most of it, you know, soak it up. So the atmosphere on that course is probably the best out of any Ironman I've ever done. Better than Rofnik, honestly. Like, it's yeah, way better than Roth. Like, the Ron course, nothing comes close to the Ron course in Wales, honestly. And I'd say that without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, that is the best atmosphere on any Ron course I've ever experienced, and it's consistently like that.
Is it just because you're in small villages, or what?
Not really. I mean, it's a 10k loop. You run through the town centre, and it is absolutely fucking electric when you do the laps around the town centre. I mean, you're talking like 3-4 wide, running through cobble streets. There's a wall of noise. But then all the way out to the turn, there's people the whole way. There is people all the way to the turn and all the way back in. There's probably 30, 40 metres on that whole course where there's no one shouting at you. So I think it must be, the atmosphere must have been part of it as to why I went so well, because everyone was behind me and it was like a wall of noise following me around. It was like what I've seen, like the flipping London Marathon. Honestly, it was insane.
That's really cool, and obviously pulling for you being a GB athlete, chasing guys down in a home race. I mean, you're not Welsh, but it's a GB race. Like, it's
mate, they'll
cool.
Fucking take me when they get the opportunity to sport someone.
They'll take it. So I'm just looking at this string of results here. So Ironman, this race we're talking about here, Ironman Wales, September 11th, 2022. Then less than a month later, October 8th, Kona, you were 5th. Then another month and a half later, Ironman Arizona, you won in 7:46. So in basically 2 months' time, you won 2 Ironmans and were 5th at Kona. I don't know if, like, has anyone else ever done that? Won an Ironman the month before Kona, come top 5 in Kona, and then won an Ironman the month after Kona. I can't remember anyone who's done it. I mean, maybe it's probably did back in the day, but like, that's pretty insane. Like, that has to be your best string of form probably in your career. And you won races the year before, 2 races the year before, 2 fulls, and Lake Placid the next year. So that's what the era I remember you is like, no one's beating Joe if he shows up to an Ironman. Like, it's not happening.
I'd say 2021, 2022 was definitely, and I think probably if 2020 had have been on the cards as well, like, obviously COVID stopped it, but like at the start of 2020, I won Ironman New Zealand and was on really good form there, and that was a really good performance. But then obviously from like March 2020 when COVID hit to cool, like you're pretty much talking like middle of 2021. There wasn't really anything, was there? Like there was no races early season 2021. So I kind of feel like it was a shame that COVID hit, because I really do feel like if I'd had an opportunity to race in Kona at the end of 2020 and the end of 2021, they would have been two really good opportunities for me, because it was kind of like, if you look at the people that were featuring in Kona in 2022 and the people that were featuring in Kona in 2019, the last time we had it, it was a clear changing of the guard. And I kind of feel like that would have been my best opportunity for some really good results. Like if you look at the names that you're seeing, that, you know, the names that were up there in 2019 weren't there in 2022. I was like the only one that was really there in 2022 and was there in 2019. And I kind of feel like it was such a shame that I didn't really get the opportunity to do that. And then St. George, which would have been a fantastic race for me, and which actually I was probably in my best form of my whole career, I got COVID 3 or 4 weeks beforehand, and that was disappointing. But I mean, there's loads of people that have stories like that. But I mean, for me on a personal level, it would have been great to target that race, because it wouldn't have been the hot, humid conditions. The run course was very hilly, and if you look, and obviously with how I performed at Wales at the end of 2022, a hilly run course would have been absolutely fantastic for me. And looking at how Lionel performed on there, I mean, he was in the mix the whole time on the bike, and I mean, he wasn't really going to be swimming away from me. We would have been very close on the swim. And then the bike, I would like to think that I would have probably been at least with him, maybe ahead. If you look at how I raced him in Chattanooga at the end of 2021 and put 8 minutes into him on the Ironman. So you'd like to think that I would have been at least with him starting the run, and then anything could have happened, really, couldn't it? You know, it could have been close, but it's all what ifs. But I think like that 2020 to end of 2022 was like definitely when I was probably like had my best form. You know, I was in better form in training at different points, but if you actually talk about consistency on the race field, you know, that was when I was at my peak, really.
Remember that Placid when it was just pissing down rain like the whole time? That might have been when you had a good day. I think did you crash like twice and then like caught back and then still passed me or some shit?
Nah, mate, I've never crashed in Lake Placid, so you're thinking of someone else, mate.
Oh, it might have been Costas. No, we were in the group. It was like you, me, and then I think Costas.
I think I stopped. I stopped in one race in Lake Placid. That wasn't that one, but that was a different one, because I thought I had a puncher, but I had a speed wobble. So it might have been then, and it was on the descent. It had been raining just before we started descent, but it was the first time I ever had a speed wobble, and my whole bike was shaking. I thought, fucking hell, if I punctured here, it was absolutely terrifying. Stopped and felt my tyre. It was absolutely fine, and it was once I was going above like 90 k's an hour, and it was so flipping sketchy. That was I thought I was gonna get completely wiped out.
No, it wasn't you who crashed. I think it was Costas.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Riding too close. When you're riding like 2 meters behind, it's hard to see the potholes.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So those were obviously like those days. I think there was one race that a lot of people probably tuned into. I think is the one you mentioned, Chattanooga, where there was Cody Beals, Lionel, you, and I think it was Ben Hoffman.
And Sam Long.
And Sam Long were there, and you put time into everyone on the bike on that day, if I remember right. Also, I believe you took a wrong turn on the bike and lost some time.
I did, yeah. I lost about 30 seconds on the bike, like just as we caught the group up, and then it's on the same course as what the half is, isn't it? So there's a bit where the half kind of like veers right, and you take this right turn, but the road goes round to the left. I went round to the left, and then realised after about like 100 metres, oh shit, I was meant to go the other way. Quickly had to turn around and then catch the group up. I only lost me about 20-30 seconds, but it did take quite a while to, you know, a little bit of time to an effort to catch them back up again. It was it was definitely a decent effort I had to put in. I actually got off the bike pretty much with Sam Long. I was about a minute ahead of him, I think, something like that. So on the bike, me and Sam ended up bridging across to Cody and Ben Hoffman. And then we kind of all worked together for a bit, and then me and Sam were like taking turns to kind of distance them, because we knew they were quite good on the run. It didn't really, like, certainly Ben in hot, humid conditions, looking at how he'd performed in Kona, was really good. Cody's quite good in some of the hot conditions as well. So didn't really want to take them with us. And also because I think we'd already caught them on the bike, we had a feeling that we were probably riding stronger than them. So if we did take turns attacking them, we could probably hurt their legs a lot more, and they would run a lot worse than what we would. So it was just trying to get taken turns, trying to get away. But then I actually hit a big lump on one of the descents. So with about, I can't remember how far it was to go now, but maybe 20k, I got stuck. I didn't realize that at the time that Shimano has that safe mode, like the crash mode.
Oh yeah.
So it like put it in like the biggest gear. So all the way back to transition, I was literally in like either, I can't remember, it would have either been a 56 or a 60, and like the 12 or the 11, whatever it is in Shimano, obviously wasn't a 10 back then, but that gear was what I was left in to all the way back. And I was thinking that Sam was going to drop me, because I couldn't afford to let my cadence get too low and the speed get too low, because I just wouldn't be able to turn it. So I had to kind of keep the effort quite high, and then I ended up managing to drop him. But I was literally like 40 cadence, like barely turning the thing up. Thinking, fuck, like what's happened? Like, because I didn't know what had happened at the time. I just thought, shit, like has the battery malfunctioned or something, you know? Thankfully it was right. It was only about the last 25 minutes, probably 20 minutes, something like that, back to transition, then got through it. And
luckily it's pretty flat and there's not really any uphills in that section. There's one little.
It was the bridge. The bridge was like, it felt like it was going up a mountain, felt like it was like Alpe d'Huez or something. Like, it's only about 30 seconds, isn't it? But it was like, I just had to like make sure I kept the cadence high, because otherwise if it got on top of me, there was no way I was going to get started again.
Is it tough to come race in the U.S.? Have you found a lot of success, or has that just been something hard to nail down?
No, I found it quite good. Like, and I really enjoyed it, to be honest. I preferred to race in the US than I did in Europe, because I found it was a lot more fun. There was a lot more, like, everyone's like English speaking. Like, I mean, you guys might find it when you go to Europe. Sometimes it can be quite hard. Just not being able to speak the language and everything like that can make things a lot more awkward. It's all right if there's a few of you that go together, like 2 or 3 of you, and you're kind of doing your own thing in a group, or the Europeans that you know speak English, but it can make it a lot harder. And also, I feel like the races in America are a lot more legit. You know, the marshalling's going to be held to a higher standard, whereas in Europe, I do feel like it can be a bit down to, a bit like the Wild West. You know, you can go to Spain, and then what might never be a drafting call, and everyone's riding 6 meters behind each other and they've got a load of motos. Whereas I feel like America, you get wider roads. They hold themselves to quite high account in terms of like the penalties. Sometimes I'd say they're a bit overzealous, but I would rather than be a bit over strict and every once in a while you get the wrong side of a penalty, than being not very strict at all, really lenient, and just letting cheating happen all the time in every race. That's why I stopped racing in Spain, because I just got so fed up of the races just being like a complete farce. That was one of the reasons why I kept going to America, because you were just guaranteed much more legit, fair races, and the best athletes then come out on top.
Yeah, we saw some of that stuff in Mexico and South America too, we've all experienced a little bit. And then the Germans, man, they're way strict, man. Like just look at them weird, and they're like, you're drafting. They just don't give a shit about you.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's complete lottery now, especially I think with that race ranger, because people will sometimes see the light and they won't take anything like any context with it. If you hit a bit of a hill, obviously you're going to bunch up a bit, but sometimes they don't take any context to it. So it's like, oh, light went red, boom, penalty. And it's like, you've got to kind of understand the racing dynamics a bit. So the referees do need to be a bit more skilled. That is one of the bad things in triathlon, where they have no cameras, there's no VAR, is there? It's just like, if someone does a terrible decision, you have to live with it.
I think that's probably the hardest part for me with Race Ranger now, is that we've got this great technology and it's a really good tool, but nobody within the rule-making industry has kind of adopt all the capacity to make some really good judgment calls. Because every pro briefing that we have, it's just like this big question mark on like, well, what happens if you slot in when someone's blue? Or what happens if you do hit a red light and you're all climbing? It's like, let's just be honest about it. Like, don't call penalties on long climbs where everyone's going to bunch up. Just because like I find that the rules that they're putting in place in officiating now, they're not there to help the race become more of an actual race that's more fair. They're just trying to be logistically pinning you on bullshit calls that don't really impact the race, which could be preventing you from racing, actually. So I think that we need to have some more common sense approach with how we're integrating Race Ranger, Joe. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to see marshals held to account, really. I'd like to see them have to have like some kind of like camera or something, so when they do make the decision, or when the decision, like when they're actually judging on that decision that they're going to penalise someone on, it should have to be filmed, because at the moment they say there's no appeal process, and I kind of find that's so bizarre that you can screw someone over for like 3-4 minutes, which is a crazy decision. I mean, like, people are paying their mortgages, aren't they, and have a lot riding on decisions like this, especially with like sponsor bonuses and everything. And for someone, I mean, the marshals, I don't even know if they're volunteers half the time. Like, they might be paid, but like, they could be volunteers. And I just feel like they need to be held to they need to be more skillful. I mean, there's lots at stake. It's not like we're amateurs and we're all doing it for a hobby. We're doing it to make a living. And like, you know, sponsors are putting a lot of money behind athletes, and athletes have a lot of riding on it. You know, like, if you get a bad call at one race, potentially that could stop you from being able to pay your mortgage. And I mean, it's just nuts, really, that they're allowed to make decisions like this and the athletes have no say in it whatsoever and just have to accept shitty decisions.
Yeah, like the race start, swim procedure, and some of the officiating, it seems like it's kind of still the Wild West. So, go ahead, Garrick.
Yeah, I think the refs sometimes they need to evaluate more like the spirit of the rules and less so going straight, you know, by the letter of the law. But Joe, so you right after you retired, you put out a couple podcasts, and the titles alluded to you kind of telling us why you retired, but it really was just you reliving all your glory days, which was awesome. So a couple of good ones. But what was the moment? Because to me, at least, someone who, you know, like, I watch all your YouTube, listen to your podcast. I consume a lot of triathlon content, but this kind of came a little bit out of left field, your retirement, and it did come like partway through the season. Did you have an idea of this going into the season, that you were like, well, maybe, you know, I'm going to pull the plug this year, retire, or was there something that happened that you were like, I'm done with this, like it's kind of, I'm over it?
Not really. Like, going into the start of the season, I was really motivated and I was training like really hard. I was with the intentions of carrying on, and then I had the race in South Africa. Felt like I had a decent race. You know, got second place, and considering like Matt Marquardt's, like, I think he's quite a decent athlete at the Ironman. He's very underrated. So I was like, well, that's a good start to the season. But up until that point, I was really keen to carry on. But then I was kind of like, it all kind of was around about Austria, I would say. Like, I was training hard for that, and then wasn't able to finish the race, and then I was kind of like, I want to do another race, and it was just getting a bit demoralized with it all. You know, it was like, the next race, there's Lake Placid that you could do. I didn't really want to fly out to America and do a massive trip just to do another race. Frankfurt was probably going to be a draft fest, I thought, like, with the Pro Series and motos. Just from the last few years, of every single person I know that's gone there has been like, the race was bullshit. And I thought, I'm putting all these hours in, all this time, and it might not amount to anything. You know, it could just, you know, it's a lot. Basically, the effort you put into triathlon is a lot, isn't it? You know, the training's ruthless. You know, you're traveling all around the world. And I was looking at it, and I was kind of like, for me, it was like, sponsor money for me is like, it's probably going to go down again next year. It went down, obviously, like, going into this year. So I'm kind of like, well, that's going down. There's less opportunities to race now compared to what there was 3-4 years ago. You know, like, the amount of Ironman distances there are in a season, I think there might be about 10. There used to be like 25 if you went back to 21, 22. So now you've got all these like fields that are like way more depth, which, great. Let's get a bit more money then in these races if there's more depth, to kind of make up for the fact that instead of racing 5 people that can win these races, you've now got 20 people. So why is the prize money not going down to 15th or 20th? And why are we not getting 3 times the amount of money in these races when there's 1/3 less races? Obviously they're not. They're happy to put it in the Pro Series, but I was kind of looking at that and I was thinking, I don't really like the way the sport's going, you know. Like, I didn't want to race those races. And then my next opportunity would have been to race Kalmar. I mean, we haven't even got to fucking Kalmar. And I'm like, Jesus, I don't want to do another like 8 weeks of flipping grinding away training for a race in mid-August. And then what's after mid-August? Like, I don't want to go to Kona because I think it's an absolute rip-off. And like, I don't think it makes it for me financially worthwhile unless I've got someone paying for the whole trip. And even then, like, I wasn't really that keen to go, but I probably would have. So then I'm like, there's Maryland, there's Wales, but it's just like, they're all those two are really close. It was just basically like the calendar, I felt like, it got a lot worse. It got smaller. The money wasn't going up. The same prize money for individual races is around now as what there was in 2014, 2015. Sponsor money going down. I think a big part of that is to do with like a lot of these Chinese brands coming in, So people see technology that they like on Western brands that have been developing it, and then they look on Temu or something like that and see something that's like pretty similar, but it's about a quarter of the price. So if the companies that are developing the money and putting a lot of R&D into it, and obviously sponsorship, they are selling a lot more products and making way less revenue. There's just less sponsorship money to go around. And I didn't really want to cut my living costs just to carry on stringing along doing triathlon for the sake of doing triathlon. And then going into it, I wasn't really like, I was finding it a bit harder to go get out the door, if I'm honest, you know, like with training, I was kind of thinking to myself, oh, I wouldn't mind doing that training. You know, you see YouTube videos of other sports online, you think that looks quite fun. I'd quite like to do that. Whereas before, I wouldn't have really thought that. I was in the zone, you know, it was all, what am I doing today? Like, this is the goal, this is the goal. I mean, before Outlaw, I had a job interview lined up for the Wednesday after the race. You're not doing that if your head's in the game, is it? You know, like if you'd have said to me in 2022, do you want to apply for this job? I'd have been like, no fucking way. But I'd already applied for the job and had a job interview for the Wednesday afterwards. If I'd got that job, I was like, I would have been, like, I didn't get it, but if I had, I would have been starting like a full-time job. So like my head clearly wasn't in it. And it kind of got to the point when you think about all these different factors. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm just quite done. And then when I was going along in the race, I just felt like I didn't really have that ability to kind of dig in and push myself. And I was kind of thinking about it when I was riding in the race. And I think, well, one of the reasons why I've probably been able to race so well in the past was because I was really good at naturally just being able to push myself to the limit and dig in and get the best out of myself. It didn't really feel like I was pushing myself that hard because I think it was just a strength and I was just good at it. But I just felt like I kind of lost that a bit. And that could be a multitude of factors. It could be partly due to age, partly due to doing a lot of races. But also I think part of that, both of those two factors are when you've been racing a lot and you're getting older, you might not have that motivation to push yourself. You might do. Like, I mean, Nick, you're going a lot better yourself now than what you have done, but you're obviously still completely in the zone and you're going well. But I think you just seem to know when the time's right. Like when I did Ironman Switzerland in 2021, I remember racing against Swiss guy, can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was a Swiss guy.
Was it
and
Ronnie?
It wasn't Ronnie. No, it wasn't Ronnie.
I got it right here.
He was coached
Van
by
Berkel?
Van Berkel.
Oh, Jan Van Berkel.
Jan Van Berkel, yeah.
Jan Van Berkel. I raced him in Switzerland, and he won it. Had a great race in Switzerland. Probably his best result for a good year or two, maybe even longer. And I was like, fucking hell! Like, how is he retiring? And then like Daniela Reef was there, and I was like, he's fucking nuts. Like, why is he retiring when he's just won the race? And she's like, when you know, you know. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, how can you know you're up when you've won your race? And I think that's just what it is. Like, it doesn't matter necessarily on the performances. It's just like when you're honest with yourself and you know in your head that it's time to move on, you know. Like, if you don't know, then you're definitely doing the right thing and carrying on, because when the time's right, you won't need to think whether or not the time's right. You'll just know that it just feels right and you're ready to move on. And that's what it just got like to me, you know. It was just like, I was just happy to move on, happy with what I've done, just happy to move on to like different things. And like Jackson sent me a few messages and was like, you should do Wales. And I'm like, mate,
yeah, I was trying to get him
sent me the messages. I didn't reply.
Here's why I did that. Here's why. Because I knew that if there was any chance that you didn't know for sure, I was like, I gotta make sure that he doesn't regret it. And I was like, push a little bit. But if you know, like you said, you know.
I think when I saw that, I was just like, I was going to send you a message and be like, this is why you're not ready to retire, mate. Like, because like, that's exactly what I would have said a year ago. Like, why the fuck would you just stop like that? Like, why would you not just do Wales? But like, when you've got it in your head and you're just like happy to stop. And like, you know what? I haven't even done a swim or a bike ride since Outlaw. I literally haven't done any. And I haven't even felt the urge to. Like, I haven't even felt motivated to, you know? It just feels like, I mean, I've just done a lot of running. I've done some other stuff, but I still enjoyed the training. I still like doing training, but I just haven't had the urge to really to do it. It's just been good to do other things, really. But when you know, I think when you just know that your time's up, you know your time's up, and just do you.
That's time for sure. Then I think, especially if you're not training and you still love the lifestyle, like that says a lot about it's time. But I think you said a couple key things I want to just revisit real quick. So. It's expensive. This lifestyle, what we put into it, it's very grueling. It kind of takes everything from you. We love that part of it still because that's the routine, that's the grind, that's what keeps us motivated to just be better. But then you've got the other part of it, which is the expense, the pressure, winning races, and do you get enough out of the races anymore to make that win feel as special? Like, because it seems like that might not be as big of a payoff. So the business side of triathlon seems to be a big, substantial reason as to why maybe it's just not what it used to be.
I mean, yeah, I mean, to be honest, if I had a really good result, like, I mean, obviously my last race that I won was in 2023, so it was a while ago now, but like when I got second in South Africa, I was really pleased. Like, you know, I was over the moon, like, that I managed to get a good result. So I definitely would say, if anything, I probably enjoyed it more because I didn't take it as for granted as what I would have done in the past, you know, 2021, 2022. I just thought you were going to be winning like multiple races every year, and I think that's what you do. And you don't realize that when it might get harder to win races or get up there on the podium. But so once I did South Africa, I definitely wouldn't say I took it for granted. I was like really pleased, went there with my dad, and it was kind of like, what a successful trip, you know, great to kind of get one done, and like this is going to bode well for the rest of the season. You know, at that point I was fully planning on carrying on for the rest of the season. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just find it hard to kind of really justify doing it as well. Like, you know, going back to the costs of it, you know, I after South Africa and like doing the result, it's like I think it was like £11,000 in prize money you make, but you go all the way to South Africa, you put all the money in for it, and it's like it doesn't really go far when you've got a mortgage and you've got kids and everything. And it's like, how long do I really want to carry on doing it for before I actually want to think to myself, you know, I need to kind of look at getting a career and getting on with something else. You know, I felt like I'd had a good innings as well. You know, I'd been doing it since like 2012, really, like I'd say properly serious. So it was like I'd enjoyed it enough that another year or two for doing triathlon wasn't really going to make any difference to my career as to whether or not I did. And I thought it was good. It would be good to leave it on a high, then force myself to carry on and end up resenting it, because at the moment the memories that I have are really good from it. So I wouldn't want to force myself to do it and be like, oh God, I should have stopped that years ago, you know, or I didn't enjoy that. Them last 2 years were like, you know, a real struggle or whatever. You know, I've got good memories, positive memories of it. So I think it was good to stop at that point.
Yeah,
no doubt. And just looking through the Pro Tri News website, by the way, is an awesome job summarizing results. You had pro races you did at least one race every year since 2012. You did one race in 2012. So let's say 2013 is like your first pro year. There's only 1 year where you didn't have a podium, 2024. Every other year you had most years a win, most years podiums, and to come second in an Ironman this year,
that's great.
Like that's pretty stellar to finish on a note like that. And now I want to ask you, because everyone in the triathlon world, like, who knows you, wants you to be around the sport still. Like, are you still going to be interested in announcing? I love when you're, you know, or I guess commentating on some of these Ironman races, or at least, you know, doing podcasts, stuff like that. Where do you see yourself there? Do you think you're going to get involved with some of that? Or what are your plans regarding that? Because we're going to have to make you come on and commentate or like talk about races with us, because we can't have you just...
I would love to do some of the commentary, and to be honest, I've reached out to T100 and Ironman. I'd love to do it, but I think they're pretty happy with the people that they've got, so there's just no room to get in there. You know, it's not from lack of trying, because loads of people have said, oh, you should do commentary, and I'd like, yeah, be fantastic to do that, but it's kind of like out of my hands. You know, I've chased it up and I've sent messages, but there's not more I can do. It's completely down to them. But I still follow the sport. You know, I still follow all the people on like Instagram and like seeing what they're doing, and follow the races and everything. Like, I still really enjoy seeing how they kind of pan out, and not having to worry about it now. It doesn't really it actually probably makes it a bit more enjoyable, because you know, you can get really stuck in and you don't really have any you know, as many alliances.
Well, who's your current hero of triathlon? Who's the guy you always pull for?
I'll always pull for the underdogs, mate.
I love
probably
it.
you, Nick.
Yeah, that's right.
The underdog is the real junkyard dog.
Yeah. I mean, if I see someone, like, for instance, like, let's say I see the Norwegians turned up and it was Jackson who was like off the bike ahead, then I would obviously be cheering for him, because, you know, it's the same if I watch football. If I see Cape Verde versus Spain, I want Cape Verde to win, like, you know, against like Spain. Like, I don't want like the favourites to win. I always like to see an upset.
I love it. All right, so talk to us about High Rocks. How's that fitting in?
Oh,
What's the
mate.
prize money look for High Rocks?
God, I don't know. To be honest, I'm just like doing it for a bit of fun. I haven't got a clue what it is. I mean, I'm like so far away from getting the prize money that I haven't even bothered to look. Like, I wouldn't get any anyway at the moment. But the training's quite fun. To be honest, it's quite easy. Like, basically, in my head, I'm like, I just run 10 miles a day and do a long run on the weekend. And like, sometimes I might not be able to get all that done, but that's what I try to do. And then obviously just do like 2 sessions and a long run every week, or 3 sessions and a long run, and then do the gym stuff on top, so 4 or 5 strength sessions a week. And but the improvements come so quick for me in the gym, because we just haven't done that type of training. I think you guys would be the same as well. Like, when you've just been doing so much endurance and then all of a sudden you cut it down, and like that running to you guys probably sounds like a decent amount, but when you're just running 1 hour a day, which is basically what I think of it as, 10 miles, like sometimes it's slightly less, but then if I do a session, well, by the time you've done the warm-up and the cool-down, it might be a bit more, so it kind of averages out around about that. It's like so easy to fit it in. And then you go to the gym, and the gym training's quite fun, especially when you do these high rock sessions, because they're like full on. You get like 25, 30 people, you go in there, they absolutely crank the speakers up. And sometimes, like when I turn up on like a Sunday morning, they'll like split it up into 3 groups. There'll be like 30, between 24 and 30 of you. So they'll be like, you 3 start, or 3 or 4 groups, and each group is doing like between a 10 or a 15 minute kind of effort. But their efforts, I'd say it's like the equivalent of doing like threshold reps. So imagine on the bike you're doing 4 by 13 minutes with 2 minutes recovery. That's what I'd say it's like, but it would be almost like going over unders. But to split it up, make it a bit fun, it'd be like, all right, you're going to run 400 or 500 meters, then you're going to do like 30 box jumps, and then you're going to push a sled like 37 meters, and then you get back on the treadmill, and you basically just keep doing that for like 13 minutes, and it's almost like you get in these mini races. Then you have 2 minutes rest, then you might do like something on the ski, and then some other kind of set. I had to do like something where I hang and did like these like sit-ups. Half the time I don't even know what the fucking exercises are called. They have to show. But it's all kind of like mixed up with all these different things, so it's quite entertaining, because you swap from one to the next and you get in like a really good session. And like on Saturday I had this race against this meathead who was at the gym, and I was like literally down to the fucking wire. So we you started off and it was like 1,000 meter run, so I was like, right, this is perfect. And we do these outside, like sometimes they're outside, or sometimes on these like treadmills called like an assault treadmill, which I actually quite like running on. But this time we did it outside. So 1,000 meters, and you come in, and then we had to go on like, I think it was like sit-ups. You had to do like 60 sit-ups, and they gave you this mat thing, or this like, I don't know what it was, but it's something that you put underneath your back, and fucking hell, it made it brutal. Like, it was like the contraction was on the whole time. So we did that. He pulled away from me. Then it was like on the ski erg and something like this, and it was swapping. It was yo-yo, and it was a 24-minute effort with like 8 different exercises. But if you don't get all 8 done, then you stop at the end of the 24 minutes. So basically, the aim is try and get as far through this 24-minute set as you can, which is bizarre, because could you imagine if I set you guys a bike effort and I'm like, right, guys, we're going to ride up to the top of that fucking mountain, but if you don't get to the top of that mountain, it's a 24-minute flat out. And if you get to the top before 24 minutes, you get a bit of rest, and you're looking at it and you're like, fucking hell, we can't get up that in 24 minutes. And I'm like, right, well, just max effort for 24 minutes then. But that's basically what it is. It's like, in my head, it's a bit like bizarre, because like you very rarely would just like get to a session and be like, right, we're just going to fucking spank it for 24 minutes, guys, over unders, full pelt. And you're like, all right, that's what we're doing today, is it? Yeah, that's basically what it was. And then just as we come into the end of the second run, and we're like 24 minutes, and I had about 20 seconds on the guy. And it would have been bloody close, because the next one we had to do was kind of like a gym exercise where you had to lift this plate up from the floor to above your head. And he would have been hunting me down on that. And he said to me, I knew you'd have about 7 reps in the bank. He'd go, I'd go unbroken for 60 on that. And I reckon I'd have fucking took you. And I was like, yeah, well, we'll never know. We'll have to wait until next Saturday, mate.
It does sound good. Like the training ethos, like I do really appreciate what High Rocks has done for the total body, more cardio based. Like I think it's great. But the races or the events themselves seem fucking insane. Like 30,000 people coming through like 4 or 5 days, just like that many people competing on the same circuit. It just seems like this mega business too.
Yeah, it's mental. Like I'm doing the one in London. There's 20,000 people, like over 4 or 5 days, and I did it in 2023. And I think back then it was like one of the biggest ones, and there was only like 5,000 maybe, or something like that. It was only, I think, 2 days. Now it's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's 5 days, completely full, sold out like within 1 day. Basically, starts from like 8 in the morning until like 10 at night. Every single day.
Jeez.
So I'm basically in training for that, where I want to try and go under an hour. I don't know whether or not I've got a target, whether or not I've got a chance of that at the moment, but the training's been quite fun anyway. And I just picked an hour because basically someone was like, you need to pick a round number. And I'm like, well, I can't make it 5 minutes. So
just like marathon runners, like everyone's goal is like a 10.
It'll have to be 60. I don't think I've got a fucking chance, but at least it has a good ring to it.
You probably could, man. I mean, you're probably super good. Like, you're built with like enough muscle, and you've got the endurance engine of an ox. You should be able to do great at it.
Yeah, it's just getting the practicing the certain exercises, like, really. But I've got another session tomorrow, which is basically like one of them race ones. So that'll be quite fun.
Those wall balls, those ones look to be the one that would just kill me. Those things.
Oh, mate. The wall balls are so bizarre because when you're doing fresh, I would say it's like similar to like when you're running off the bike in an Ironman. It's like when you run that pace fresh, it's so flipping easy. But when you get 25K, 30K in, you're like max effort and you're like 4-minute Ks. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, if I want to go down and run, I'd run this pace. Like, in non-carbons, I've got like flipping Pumas on and I'm like barely breaking a 4-minute K here. Like, that's what the wall balls are like, you get like, you do them in training, you do like 10 or 20 of them at a time. And you're like, yeah, that's not that bad. I think I'm getting better at this. And then you hit it like at the end of a session and you're like, Jesus Christ, I was like, I'm completely uncoordinated. Can't even catch the ball. It's bouncing out of my hands. I'm having to pick it up. And then you do 2 reps and because you're so bad at like catching it, like it just feels like it's like giving you a punch in the chest and you're just like, fuck, I've got to do 100 of these.
It is a lot. Like, it sounds really, really tough.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a good fun. Like, you'll have to give it a crack, Jackson. There's loads in North America. I'm sure Nick would do a doubles with you.
Yeah, baby. Let's do it.
Well, maybe when we retire, we'll get into it like you.
Let's do one at the end of the season, like you could do an open doubles to start off with, so it doesn't take much training.
Just get the piss kicked out of us.
We'll see.
Las Vegas one.
There's one in L.A., Las Vegas. There's a bunch around us.
There's probably Toronto and stuff too.
Yeah, it's Toronto, Vancouver, Chicago.
That's in what I'm going to as well. They're actually doing a little competition in amongst the gym in September, and they've got prize money for it.
Really?
Everyone's got better prize money than triathlon.
Yeah, that's like nuts, isn't it? Like they've got like prize money.
Yeah, local gym's got $30,000
it's like better than like winning a 70.3. You just turn up and just throw a few medicine balls around.
Yeah. So you have run goals as well that you want to hit. Did I see 14:30 for 5K, or what were some of those?
2-minute 800, 4-minute 1500. I saw that.
That's it. Yeah. So 2-minute 800 because it's a round number. 4 minutes for 15, which is another nice round one, and then 14:30 for 5, and then sub 30 for 10. I personally think my hardest one will be the 14:30 5K.
Harder than 30 for 10.
Well, either one of them, I feel like they're both kind of like pretty similar. Both of those.
That 5K though is just such a different level in the last freaking K.
Yeah, exactly. That, like, I mean, a sub 4. I honestly feel like my easiest one would be the sub 2 800, which is what a lot of people think would be the worst, but that's the one what I actually think I have the best chance. And then the 1500 and the 5K, I'm not sure. I kind of thought, like, with my strengths, if I'm running sub 2 for an 800, if I did a few 1500 sessions, then I should be able to kind of go sub 4. And then the 14:30 and the 30 minutes one, they're both like pretty much equally as tough. Like, I think if you're in shape for one, you're in shape for the other, really.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome to go for those goals. And it's always been clear, like, the run, just from your YouTube videos, like, you seem to enjoy the run training more, and that's common. Like, it's the simplicity of running, I think, that a lot of us love, where you just strap the shoes on and you go and you do a hard interval session. And it just feels somewhat natural about trying to run as fast as you can for whatever distance.
Yeah.
So,
and it's just so easy to do, and I kind of feel like running and strength work sets you up really well for like any other sports. Like, if you wanted to get into other sports down the line, or you wanted to go back into triathlon, or you wanted to, do cycling, I feel like having the basic fitness that you get from both them is really good. Like you said, the time is just so time efficient to fit in some decent run training. But also, I've got really decent runners and a really good run group to run with here as well, so it makes it a lot more fun. Whereas if I was to go out on the bike, I'd be doing a lot of it solo, and I feel like with cycling, you have to put a lot more hours in than what you do running. Running, you can go out for the door and you can do like a 70-minute run. You get quite a lot from that. Whereas cycling, I think like 70 minutes just doesn't really get you that much. It's a lot more hassle. Stuff can go wrong. I mean, apart if your body holds up, and as long as you keep getting like new shoes every so often, you're pretty much, you're golden, aren't you? Really?
Yeah. So one last thing I wanted to see where you're going with is you're hoping to kind of get a full-time job. We saw that you had a brief stint into politics. Is that something else you want to get into? Potentially full-time. Where are your plans? What's your dream? Like, if you could pick a job right now, like obviously a normal job that pays enough to do what you need to do with life, what would you pick?
A normal job, so it's not allowed to be something in sport.
Even in sport, but like a job you get paid a salary, or politics or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
something that's like guaranteed paycheck.
Probably just prime minister, nothing like
That'd be awesome.
Probably something in sales. I think I'd be quite good at that. I think a lot of it would be talking to people, wouldn't it, and networking. And if you've got a good product that you believe in, I think it really helps you sell it. So I think I could do quite well in that. That was the kind of jobs that I was going down the line for. Obviously, I'd like to stay in sport if I can, which is why I've actually, I know at the start when we had this conversation, I think just before we started recording, you said you'd seen a lot of my training and stuff recently, and I've decided, I was speaking to a few people that have grown their followings on social media and managed to kind of, I guess you could call them like influencers, although they're not look at me, doing their hair and stuff like that in the shower, but they are kind of similar to, they're not professional athletes, but they were saying that, posting regularly is the key to keeping in the algorithm, and it really helps brands want to go with you. So I've just been doing a bit where I've been trying to post something every day, which is actually harder than it sounds, because trying to make it sound interesting and not just posting absolute shite, although a lot of people would say it is just absolute shite that I post anyway, it's actually harder than what you think. So I've been doing that to kind of keep the door open, and I would actually like to, so the brand that was sponsoring me when I was a professional Purpose, I'd like to get that a lot bigger in the UK and actually make a big thing from that, try and get athletes racing in your gear, make it quite popular, quite a big thing. And we're trying to push the heat part of the kit, so cooling tri-suits, cooling vests, cooling suits for potentially for high rocks, because you get so flipping hot in them gyms, mate, doing that. It's nuts. Yeah, it's like doing turbo sessions without a fan to cool you down.
Yes, Cyril would be loving that though if he could get some product on high rocks.
Yeah, well, that's the plan down the line. So if that took off, that would be perfect. That would, but whether or not it will, obviously there's no guarantee, but I would really like to kind of put more time into that. So if that can go well, then that would be great. And then obviously I can just try and use the profile that I've got and the to get the products out there a bit more and get a bit more momentum behind the company.
Yeah, no doubt you could sell some really good stuff, but you're knowledgeable, you do the research, you speak well. Sometimes it's whatever you just said, I'm going to say yes after you're finished talking, no matter what it is.
Well, and it's in a way, pro triathletes, we kind of are selling what our sponsors offer, and you've done that for years. And how many freaking bikes did you sell of whatever your bike sponsor was at the time, like Argon 18? A ton. And even if you're not directly selling it, you're doing it you have the experience, what you're doing.
You know the game, you know the business.
I'll tell you one thing as well. With you guys, with your hats and stuff, you should get the Purpose cooling ones, because we can actually get the feed on yours, Jackson. You could actually get that so it's logoed up, an actual cooling hat. Same for you, Nick, with the RTS squad, getting the style on that and getting an actual proper cooling hat, because you guys race in a lot of warm places all the time. That would be so handy for you guys.
Let's do it.
One, I'll do it. I'll be like, this is Purpose cooling hat. It's awesome.
I was supposed to go talk to Cyril at Roth, but then I just got too busy and I just didn't get a chance. But he said the same thing. I think it's a good play.
Yeah, I mean, Roth's crazy, isn't it, with all the expos and everything?
Yeah, it's too busy, man.
So, what about you guys then? What are the big goals then for the end of the season?
Beat Jackson again at this next race.
Did he beat
Don't
you,
let Nick beat me again.
beat you in
beat me at Boise, yeah.
Did he?
It's the first time he had a human day. He was just a real human being on that day. He wasn't
so
typical.
Nick's absolutely buzzing. Nick's like, I'm like the top dog. Next year, my salary's going up.
Yeah. I'll have to pay myself $1.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nick cuts the checks.
Well, we've got 70.3 Northern California in 6 days. So me and Nick will be there, Lisa, and then hopefully 70.3 New York, Ironman Florida, and we'll see possibly Ironman Western Australia.
But
That's what I
before
wanna
we go
do.
then, guys, you know what I was saying about the scene, like the triathlon scene at the moment and stuff like that. Obviously, like Nick, you've been in, to be honest, you've all been in it, the game for a long time. But what do you think about the way the scene's going with the prize money and the sponsors and everything like that? I mean, before COVID, I feel like there was a lot more money in the individual races, you know, that was easier to get. Like, I feel like the Pro Series has been the worst thing for the sport. Very controversial take, but I can go into that. But I actually think that is very detrimental. Like, they've cut the TV coverage from all the other races apart from Pro Series races. Pro Series races are an absolute nightmare for motos, let's be honest. Like, anyone who does them knows that 90% of the time they're not even legit, unless you're a big American name, and then you might have a moto with you as well. But if you go to a European race and you get out the water in an Ironman 3-4 minutes behind, you're fucked. That is it. You would never see in the front of that race again, no matter what happens. Look at Frankfurt. No one made it into the top 20 who didn't make it in the first 2 packs in the swim. When I say first 2 packs, I mean like within 90 seconds. But then none of the other races are televised now. So, you know, like guys like you go to races that would have been televised in the past, and you can get some exposure and really help build your brand, build your profile. It's impossible to do now. Like, I found that when the Pro Series came and I was doing other races, I was getting no extra followers or no nothing, because people might not necessarily know what you're racing. And like, in this day and age, I don't think people expect to look on a tracker app to follow their mates or anything like that. People want to actually see you performing. I mean, the coverage, I think, is that bad in Ironman that it wouldn't be that hard to get a couple of extra motos at all the other races like they used to do in the past, and film it, you know. And I think that they say that there's a lot more money in they're giving out in prize money. All they've done is just consolidated all the money that they had in loads of the other pro races when they've got rid of the pro fields and put it in the Pro Series and just pumped it up to the top 5 athletes, because the money's shite. Once you finish 10th overall, what'd you get? $10,000 like for finishing 10th in the Pro Series? Maybe
it's pretty weak.
Yeah, something like that. I think what has happened is overall, like, viewership of Ironman has gone up, but it's been, like you said, concentrated into just those races, and those races only really reward you if, like you say, you're finishing well in the series. So the top 10-ish in the world who also can do 3 Ironmans in the series, and like it's not easy. You got to travel a lot. Like, you have to be an athlete who is very successful, I would say, even just to do the Pro Series properly. And then you have to do well in the series. So I think what's happened is it's taken away a lot of, like you say, like followers or just like potential development for athletes that aren't there yet, or are, you know, in that next tier of, like, they're not top 5 in the Pro Series, but they would be like a 10th to 30th type person. It's taken away some of their reach and what their value would be to a sponsor. But also, I do think that there needs to be some kind of change in the way that this is all structured, because I think having the Pro Series is good and they should have it. Maybe they should reduce it to 2 fulls a year or something. I'm not sure. There's some changes.
Pro Series. What does it actually bring to the sport that's actually better than what it was before? I thought everything was working really well before. Like,
I think it's just the like, fans find it more exciting. I actually don't think the series itself is more exciting. I think just the quality of the broadcast and, like, the level of the athletes that then go to those races are
I think the broadcast
higher.
is as blank as what it was before.
I think the broadcast is about the same, but when it comes to the pre-race, the stuff they're doing with the athletes before the race, the level of media they're putting into it, like, they're doing the things they probably always should have done, and they're making it seem like they're giving us gold-plated fucking ice cream.
I mean, I don't feel like that would cost that much to do that stuff for every single Ironman race, really.
I think
anyway,
you can keep the Pro Series as it is, and then also, I think I was thinking the other day, there should be like almost 3 series of Ironman. It doesn't necessarily have to be called 3 series, but you have the Pro Series like it is, basically. Then the races now that have prize money, that is like whatever, $40K for a half, and usually 50 to 100 for a full. Those could be like a second series, like just sort of like the mid-level pro series, where I do think you could still do a broadcast. You don't necessarily need as many motos. You could have that level be like increased a little bit in terms of the value that it is. And then I actually think that Ironman should bring back prize money in like more races, maybe not every race, but they should have a third one that's more like a development tier, where it's you almost every race you have like a small prize pool at least, that local pros in that area can be like, oh, or even like aspiring pros can be like, okay, now I have a race I can go to where I could make $1,000 or whatever, and it can help develop the sport. Because right now, going from being like not a pro yet to being a pro is so expensive, and there's like no races you can drive to, very few. Like when I was developing in 2015 and stuff, there was all these Olympic distance races where I could go and make like 2K for getting a third place or something.
Yeah, I would have all them back then, but every single Ironman race had prize money back then as well. Like, and
it did, yeah. There were way less races, so it's a little different, but they could at least.
I think there was more. I think there was more back then. More pro races.
More pro races,
but
there were less total Ironman. So now the number of races around the world has gone like way up. So I don't think they could do every single.
More money.
Well, real quick, I think it boils down to something very simple, and all you have to do is look at any other major pro ecosystem. All right, what is the difference between the NFL, NBA, tennis, and soccer? They have players who either have teams that are protecting them, or they have a players' union, which is going to stand up for the rights of the players or the participants who are earning from said NFL, NBA. So then they have this relationship, right? So where they're going to say, we will accept these terms if we're going to play in your league. Now, Ironman, I don't know. Are you muted, Joe? I can't hear anything you're saying, but.
Yeah, that was just, my daughter was just.
Okay. Just making sure. But we're basically accepting whatever is given to us. We've got a percentage of maybe 10 to 15 athletes who are really earning quite a lot and doing really well and they're the pick me. They're the people who are the brands are behind right now, and they're the guys who are making the money. But everyone else is kind of left to fend for their own, and no one is willing to actually get together and say, guys, if we want to make more as a collective, we've got to be willing to all come together and say what we will and won't accept in terms of conditions, support, insurance, pay, fairness. Like if you want us to compete in your league, Ironman or whatever organization, then here's the stipulations. And we're not willing to do that, obviously, because it's not been happening. And so that's where we are. We have to make our own way as individuals. So I think that's the major problem, big picture, 10,000 foot view.
Do you think there needs to be like a professional triathletes union or something?
Oh, go fucking figure. That doesn't get commercially acquired, changes all the rankings to bias their own system, and just like they were not. They took it over and then they just turned it against us.
Yeah, but the big issue there is not like the athletes didn't buy into it to begin with.
The athletes didn't buy into it. You're right,
and that was the big thing. I think the easiest solution to this, though, but the easiest solution to this is we just cut all the bullshit. Get rid of 70.3s. Like the Pro Series is just every Ironman, so they broadcast every single Ironman. You get your best 3 Ironmans for the year. That's how you rank, or maybe 4
Ironmans. 70.3s are so fucking shite, aren't they? Like back in the day,
so bad. It's not even a real distance.
People just use training for an Ironman. I don't even know why they got so much like hype amongst them. Like because I thought it was always just like you did that before you stepped up to an Ironman as a bit of training, like not an actual series.
Because they could bring in Olympic stars and get them to race it, and then they could have this like face off between the Ironman and the like short course people that people would love to watch. And that's what I think that's why 70.3 is a really popular distance, because you're not going to get Hayden Wild facing off against whoever, Sam Laidlow at an Ironman, at least right now.
Let's get the money in. Money talks. They just need more money in the big races. Like, get rid of the Pro Series.
They're making money. They're making the money. Yeah. They just need to
the Pro Series leaderboard. Just get rid of that and pump all the money into the individual races, so you have these massive like prize money races, and then the names.
I would actually really love that. Like the Pro Series is kind of cool, but I think the only cool thing about it is that you get the best athletes out, and if you just put it into the individual races. You're going to broadcast twice as many races, then you'll get that. And maybe you still have, like you say, you just count your 3 best or whatever, and you still have, a bonus at the end of the year for the best the best overall, but it doesn't have to be this, oh, it's all about the series. It's just kind of like a little extra thing.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if Oceanside had like 150K prize pot and Texas was like 400,000. So it went down to like 20th place. But even if you got 20th, you still got like $10,000. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. So if you're racing it, you're like, oh shit, like if I get 20th, at least I've like covered my trip and made a bit of cash. But then, you know, if you start getting 7th place in it, really for 7th place, you want to be taking home 30, 40K, don't you really? In an Ironman, you can only race a few a year, but that's what it needs to be. I think in a big pro series race, minimum to actually make it worth your while, to kind of think like, this is worth me sacrificing one of the 3 or 4 Ironmans that I can do in a year tops, you know, because in a pro series, you could easily finish 15th and you could finish 5th. But like, if you have a good day and you finish 5th, you need to be going away, I think, with 50K, really, because you're not getting any sponsor bonuses from 5th, are you? You know, it's all podium based.
No, you're right. Yeah, we need to come up with a giant, better strategy, business plan, put it together, present it, and then get everyone to sign it, and then we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, sounds like something you can
Yeah,
I'll do that to your list.
do it in my free time.
Joe, we want to be respectful of your time here. So we've had you for just over an hour. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, dude.
We want to get you on again. For those who have not listened, he runs the Junkyard Dog podcast. It's a great listen.
I've never been invited on it, so I don't even know what's going on.
We had old Mark Dubrick on it the other day in person in Norwich.
That's awesome.
Really? I heard he was in the wind tunnel.
Yeah, he was, and he was staying in Norwich for like 2 nights. So while he was down here, we got him on the podcast. You have to listen to it. You can hear your boy. He was talking loads of shit about you as well, Jackson.
Yeah. Nicest guy in the world.
I'll have to listen to that one.
Yeah, nicest guy in the world. But when you weren't listening, and he knew that you wouldn't listen, he was like telling us all the dirt on you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again, Joe. We love to have you back more and more since you got all this free time. And once you get your career sorted out and figured out, it'd be great to have more of you, bud. So, Garrick, take us out.
Until next time, peace.
I got itch to
Ow.
out the sky in my parachute, dancing on the couch like I'm Tommy Cruise on a one-man mission trying to see it through.